5. Horse number 7, Young Lady, was withdrawn, and all the bets placed on the above horse will be refunded. So a late withdrawal is horse number 7 in race 5, Young Lady. Claims for race 2, Russell the Crow. The apprentice takes off 2. Super Enough, horse number 4, Apprentice Chan, takes off 3. And Zaki on horse number 5, Archaeology, takes off 1 kilogram. Talking about archaeology, there he is. And this horse made a pretty moderate debut, Kraig. Will need to improve on that run to feature, I thought.
He didn't really catch the eye at any stage, did he? They did go very quick in that race. That might be the one thing you could put against him. My Lucky Strike was able to to win. It's undefeated so far. Goes around a little bit later on. 58.85 is a very, very quick time on the poly track. And this guy just never really got warm. So maybe if they don't go anywhere near as quick as that, it might just get into a better tempo here tonight, but quite hard to recommend.
Hard to recommend is the word. Let's move on to horse number 4, Super Enough, and another one that is just, he hasn't caught the eye at all, has he? And he'll really have to pick up his feet to find the frame here.
Yeah, he's been a little bit on the plain side, Super Enough, with Sonny Yo. WS Chan takes the ride, but he's just not really finding the line. He's not even running at a strong 1,000 metres seemingly, so massive old price for him and hard to recommend.
We're going to move on to another horse that has really caught my eye, Kraig, Star General. His work's been good. His trials have been good too. You can tell the public more about that, but I really like this horse.
Yes, you're all over this guy like a rash, aren't you? He's had 3 barrier trials, Blinker's special bit for his first time out. He has drawn a little wide. His first trial was back on the 9th of December, finished 30. He was very keen in that in slow time. The 30th of December, he was slow out and he covered a lot of ground. He dropped off. It wasn't the best of trials, but his most recent trial with the blinkers on the 8th of January, he got a squeeze at the start. He whipped around the outside. He was tested up, but he did trial pretty strongly. Must admit, I'm not quite as keen as you, but track work, I think, has probably steered you more towards this guy. Just reading your mind, Gareth, he obviously has looked very good at the track.
Yeah, he has indeed. He's really caught the eye and expecting a decent effort from this guy. Let's hope he brings his track work to the course. Moving on, Kraig, horse number 1 is Keen Dragon. Now, what's interesting about this guy is he beat home Incandescent last time out between Hades, and they both run well. Obviously, the 6 had his issues, but that's still good enough form to feature here for me.
Yeah, it was a good run last time. It was 1,000 metres. First 2 starts over the 1,200. They were okay. They weren't terrible runs. But his initiation behind Hades was very good. They took him back. He drew wide. Now he's drawn a similar gate, so it will be interesting the tactics here, whether they elect to take him back. But he ran on really well from a long way off them. I like the run last time. Kraig knew it's going to ride, so that's interesting in itself that Manuel Nunez is riding Vist, and he rode Keen Dragon last time, but losing nothing with Newitt, and it's the $13 favourite.
Okay, we're going to move on to parade to a horse called Perfect Curiosity. It is horse number 9, and this horse is making its debut. Kraig, trial, second to Amazing. What did you make of that trial?
I thought it was okay. It was a quiet trial. There wasn't much in it. Nothing to get too excited about, but nothing to get negative about as well. I thought it trialled pretty strongly, Perfect Curiosity. Most of us will be giving Amazing a chance across the weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised if it runs a very good race here first up.
Okay, so keep an eye on the markets on the 9. Let's move on to next on parade, and who's it going to be? Probably Russell the Crow, horse number 2 from the Laxon Yard, and his last run was okay. He wasn't beaten that far. Moving back to the poly, do you give him any sort of chance here?
I'm not totally discounting him, put it that way. I thought his first up run was okay. He didn't have a lot of room in the home straight, but in saying that, he'd probably been, at the end of his run anyway when he got a little bit tight. He's at 12 to 1, probably his price here. He could run top 4, but I'm not putting him in there myself.
I can tell you his track work's been very good, so worth including on that. We're going to move on. Let's go to a very interesting runner, Kraig, the 8, Vist, and what we have to do is dissect his barrier trials, and it's not that hard to because they've been exceptional, haven't they?
They've been very good. Had a race start back in June, then went to the trials in August, won a trial when leading. Then we didn't see it again until the 23rd of December. Ran second in trial sitting in the breeze and was totally switched off. Came out on the 8th of January, showed plenty of speed, led, and was terrific at the trials, and then showed speed again when winning a trial on the 27th of January. Late mails all over this guy, $25 on the tote. I was looking for market support early on. It's there, and I wouldn't be surprised one little bit if it starts a fair bit shorter than what it's showing at the moment. A good lead too is Manuel Nunez, who leads our Jockeys Championship. Obviously electing to ride this ahead of Keen Dragon, the horse he ran a placing on last time.
That speaks volumes, and I must say he looks very, very good on parade indeed. Number 3, Forever Best. Pacifiers on for the first time. The blinkers are on, and another horse that I put in that needs to improve category this evening.
Yeah, just a fair run. Last time it's been around 4 times now. Forever Best hasn't quite shown its best in Singapore. There's a few gear changes. So Steve Burry's just tinkering a little bit with Forever Best tonight. 356. I'd be surprised if it was able to come out and win this.
So other horses preferred for Kraig on parade, and looking at the form, we're going to move on to our next runner, and that is Steed Expedite, horse number 7 from the O'Hara yard. And comments for me was another horse that will probably need to improve with racing, and others preferred in this race.
It's had 2 trials this year. Its first trial it was well beaten, it was okay. Its second trial it led, it was tested up and it dropped off. I think it goes reasonable, but it's very, 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 very difficult to recommend it's going to be able to run a top 4 position here.
Okay, moving on, going to a horse that took the edge off himself, I think, last time, Kraig. He dropped his rider twice. He still managed to finish 3rd. He ran out of some steam at the end of the race, and the winkers are on for the first time today. If he behaves, this horse, and saves a bit of energy, he could be in the firing line.
Yeah, I thought he was disappointing off the video when I had a look at it, because obviously I was still away when he ran first up. But Matt made the good point that he did get very stirred up going to the gates and parted company with the rider on a couple of occasions. He went through the first sectional at his most recent start in 25.97, which isn't particularly quick. I thought he should have found a little bit more in the home straight, but there may well have been excuses for him. If he can find the front easily here, he may well go all the way, but he could have a bit of pressure, and the way Vist has been trialling it might be up there as well. So I don't think he'll have it all his own way here, but certainly if he improves just marginally off that most recent run, then he's definitely a place chance here.
Okay, so comments from Kraig there. There we see the runners and riders making their way onto the main track. And Star General, nice to see that Incandescent has been left to the rear of the field, maybe just to get a lead up to the track. Kraig, with 8 minutes to go, our favourite still very strong in the market is the one, Keen Dragon, for Newitt and Walker. And he's also finished 2nd to Hades last time. He came with a very late run, and his 400 to finish time, Kraig, very, very quick indeed. And must stand him in good stead in this race, I thought. Definitely.
So they move out, they go through the tunnel. There's one of the newcomers, Perfect Curiosity. And right at the back there is horse number 5, Archaeology, coming out. Keen Dragon's the favourite, $13 on the Singapore tote, but there's plenty of horses, or a handful of horses given a chance here. We've got $19 about the 6 Incandescent, $25 about the 8 Vistanor, $28 about Star General, and then at $50 horse number 9, Perfect Curiosity. So they come out and they turn left, and they're going to go across onto the poly track just shy of the 200 metres mark here. So they'll go across and then head around towards the 1,000 metres. So shortest trip we run here in Singapore, 1,000 metres on the poly track, and they're making their way out. $13 favourite is with Keen Dragon. I've gone that way, Gareth. 1, 8, 10 and 9 for me. Keen Dragon, Vistanor, Star General and Perfect Curiosity, my top 4.
Okay, I've gone with number 10, Star General, from the Leslie Koo yard. Nearest Juggler taking the right, horse number 10 to win it, from number 6, Incandescent, number 1, Keen Dragon, and number 8, Vistanor. So 10, 6, 1 and 8 are my selections. And yeah, it looks to be a very competitive event, and it will be interesting to see what the outcome is. So 7 minutes to go as they make their way, as you heard from Kraig, towards the 200 metre marker, go across onto the poly track. And this event It's over 1,000 meters, so the speed will be on, and it will be interesting to see exactly what happens. Incandescent comes from draw 2, so you can pop out, hopefully. You'll have an easy lead, but of the other runners, I think that Vist from draw 9 will probably want to get up there as well. And Keen Dragon, well, he tends to run at them, so his draw of 8 won't be a problem for Newitt. And we've got Star General, who also can sort of race midfield. He's drawn 10, so just thinking about it, you wouldn't want to race and chase this horse up first time, and perhaps Naresh Juglal probably just going to slot him in, hopefully break well, and then has a couple of strides to sort out where he wants to sit. But Incandescent probably will go to the front, Kraig, and lead from here. But interesting runner, guys, is the 8 Vista Noir, who's now $21.06 on the total. Looks a lovely, lovely horse, very eye-catching.
Yeah, I did go back and have a look at its first run, which was back on the 22nd of June last year, and it really didn't do too much. It got a little bit keen and looked a little bit lost in its race, but the fact that it raced there, and then around about 6 weeks later it had a barrier trial suggesting they were going to race it again, and then we didn't see it again at the trials till just before Christmas. Suggests there has been a setback with him, but he has trialled very, very strongly indeed, and Michael Clements looks to have a red-hot chance here, teaming up with Manuel Nunez in race number 2.
He does indeed, Kraig, he does indeed. Now, Vistanor, this mare is by my halo, and during the week the Clements and Nunez combination had some lovely trialers, should I say, and it will be interesting to see when they make their way to the race course. So the last 2 runners making their way to the start. The first of those 2 is Star General, who just jogging up, being nice and quietly taken down by Naresh Juglal, and then of course the 6 Incandescent, who looks like he's behaving. I don't want to put the markers on him, but he is behaving this evening, also being taken down nice and quietly, and it will definitely aid his chances this evening to behave the way he has. So Star General passing the post at 29 and 8, making his way to the 1,000-meter start on the poly. He looked good enough on parade for me, and as mentioned before, his track work during the week really did catch the eye. The week before it caught the eye as well. He was supposed to run behind a horse called Sandbank and was a late withdrawal, so good to see him making his debut today. And there we see Kraig, the lead horses. They're following this guy just to make sure, I think.
They're like the sweeper, aren't they? They're just not on screen, but we can tell you that the 3 mounted Clarks are only about 10 metres behind Incandescent, and it looks like Michael Rod's just taking it very, very easy to get around towards the start here. You mentioned Michael Clements and also Manuel Nunez with a couple of runners, and they did catch the eye with a couple of their runners on Tuesday, in particular with a couple of Argentines. The Colt Ode to Joy looked very, very good in its barrier trial in winning, and straight after that ride of Valkyries, which is a mare, and it's very well rated from Argentina, also went around. So they have got some good horses coming through the system at the moment, and both of those caught the eye. And you were down there at the trials on Tuesday with a parade out. I was obviously calling them, so I was up in the booth here, but you were telling me Ode to Joy is a lovely looking colt.
Really catches the eye. He stands over a lot of ground, and he's got everything in the right place. He's got a beautiful length of rein, lovely hind quarter of him, and he's got a lot to like. Kraig, anyone call him a mugs horse, because any mug would love him. He's really a beautiful horse, and he'll catch the eye of the race goers, I'm sure, because of his trials and the way he looks on parade. Those who look at a horse on parade, he'll definitely catch the eye. And obviously the filly you mentioned, a Grade 1 winner from Argentina, and it was interesting chatting to Mike Clements. We chatted about Kiwi Carmen. He just said he was so impressed with the way the filly was able to settle on the previous weekend and accelerate well. And what's encouraging is Nunez said she won't have a problem with the 7 furlongs. So that sort of gives her a lot more options here, I think, saying that she'll go the 7 furlongs as well. And she's a talented filly.
Well, the first leg of the 3-year-old series over 12, and then we go to the Classic, which is 1,400 metres, and of course the final legs, the Guineas on International Weekend over 1,600 metres. So whether she stretches out that far, I'm not quite sure, but nonetheless it's going to be a very good series. Affleck will be the one we all look at, I guess, leading into the series, but you've got a heap of good horses coming through, the likes of Titanium. In recent years, generally the one horse has won all 3 legs and clean sweeps it. Be very, very interesting to see if we've got a 3-year-old that's dominant, or is that dominant this time around. with 3-year-olds that we didn't see as 2-year-olds coming through the system and making it very interesting.
A couple throwing their hands up and saying, I'm here for the 3-year-old campaign. One of them that could be a contender is running tonight. That's Mr. Fantastic Kraig. I really like him. And, of course, his counterpart in the same racer is a horse, number 3, Umano Minor. Both lovely horses on the up. Obviously, Umano Minor better tested and has shown he has got the class to race with the best of his age group. And Mr. Fantastic, well, tonight's the test. I think we're going to see just how good he is tonight and see if he's good enough to compete in those 3-year-old campaigns. And it's always nice to see a horse stand out and win like that. And Affleck, at the moment, would probably be, if there was any anti-post on this series, your favorite. And his track work is starting to be stepped up. Michael Rodd's been working him during this week and last week and starting to build up nicely. He caught the eye during work on Wednesday morning, Kraig. But although it's nice to have a horse like that, it's also nice for him to have competition. We want him to be tested, and we want to see how good he actually is.
Oh, he'll be tested. He'll be tested, not to say he'll be beaten, but he will be tested. Some really good horses coming through the system at the moment, as mentioned, at this level, at the 3-year-old level. And it's going to be an intriguing series. As I say, historically, certainly the last 5 or 6 years, it's been dominated by the one horse, but I don't think we'll be getting that this year. Not to say we won't have a horse that wins all 3 legs, but it will be very competitive right the way through. So looking forward to it. And as mentioned, that gets underway. The final meeting of March, it's on a Sunday. And of course, looking forward to seeing the next move of Titanium, who's won at his last 3 starts here in Singapore. And well, once he learns what it's all about, he's going to be an awesome talent, I think.
I think he's got a lot to offer and is another leading light for the 3-year-old series. So it's all building up. It's, the plot's starting to thicken. It's looking lovely. Let's go through our betting quickly. Horse number 1, still our favorite. Funny enough, not a lot of money for any of the runners here. Number 1, Keen Dragon, your favorite at $16. The 6, Incandescent at $18. The 8, Vist has come in a touch now, $20. And number 10, Star General, pretty flat in the market, $29. Horse number 9 is Perfect Curiosity. It's at $42. And number 2, Russell the Crows at $60. After that, it's anyone's guess. Those are your top 6 in the betting, and they are starting to load up. So with that, let's hand over to Kraig.
Moving into the gates, this is race number 2 in Singapore. An initiation coming up over the 1,000 metres. Incandescent about to join Archaeology in the barrier stalls. Keen Dragon goes along. Perfect Curiosity to come forward. Vist to come forward along with Russell the Crow. Now we wait on Star General, who's out the back. Also Steed Expedite to come in. And we wait for Forever Best. $16 for Keen Dragon on the Singapore tote. Now the money coming for Incandescent into 17 again. 21 for Vist and $28 for the newcomer Star General. The other newcomer, Perfect Curiosity, at 42. So we wait on Forever Best to come forward, and also Steed Expedite, and we'll be right. Second race of the night, the first on the poly this evening. $16 for Keen Dragon. So we're almost set. Steed Expedite to come in, and we'll be right to go. Starters on the platform, and they're right. Keen Dragon, a narrow favourite. Gates are back and they're off. A little bit awkward there. Getting a bad check was Forever Best. Steed Expedite was a bit awkward out of the gates as well, and Keen Dragon's going to settle back, but Vist flies away. Vist went to the lead, 800 metres to go. Russell the Crow up on the outside of Incandescent. Just behind them is Archaeology, followed by Perfect Curiosity. Then came Steed Expedite, Keen Dragon, Super Enough, getting a long way back, and to his inside is Forever Best. Down to the bend, and Vist shows the way. 500 metres to go. Vist out by a half length over Russell the Crow. A length and a half to Incandescent, being slapped along. About 5 lengths then to Archaeology. Keen Dragon to the outside, but a lot of ground to make up. And trying to finish with him is Perfect Curiosity. Vist is the leader. They go to the final 250. He kicks away by a length. Incandescent trying to knuckle down and get to him, followed by Russell the Crow. Then Keen Dragon, but it's Vist in front. Coming at him now is Incandescent. Keen Dragon down the outside. Vist just in front. tight one, Vistonor or Incandescent, and a neck away to Keen Dragoner. They were followed by probably Russell the Crow just ahead of Steed Expedite. Then came next in as they've hit the line Forever Best. They were followed by Star General. It was well back. They were followed by Archaeology, Super Enough and Perfect Curiosity. Stand by, a photo will be called for, but Vistonor will just survive by the looks. But a photo will be required here. Stand by. Incandescent is coming in strongly in Keen Dragon. So they were spread out over a lot of territory at the top of the straight. Vistonor kicked at that point, and Incandescent was under a bit of riding from Michael Robb, but it has knuckled down strongly. But Vistonor will win by about a short head over Incandescent, and Keen Dragon, who must have spotted the leader 8 or 9 lengths at the top of the straight, has charged home down the outside. So a very good finish, but Vistonor will just survive. 59.35 is the winner's time. 59.35. So the late mile spot on the mark there with Vistonor. He has been a trial star, and he's been able to get the result and just cling on to score. Stand by. This might be regarding Star General. Hello? Hello? Yep. Okay, thank you, Tup. Yeah, so that's just on Star General. I only called him across the line last because he did rear up at the start, so he caused his own problem. So he has been afforded a fair start, but blew it at barrier rise. So there was an inquiry. They've had a look at the start regarding Star General. 861 and 2. 861 and 2. Vistonor by My Halo at a ranch. Michael Clements and Manuel Nunez, a New Zealand mare, just the one start in 2014. Obviously a few setbacks, and has been trialling beautifully and gets the result first up. Incandescent by My Halo, also out of Encanto. Patella Racing, Bruce Marsh, Michael Rodder, New Zealand 4-year-old. Nice effort. He'll be winning one soon. And third in Keen Dragon by Hidden Dragon out of Wasatch for Magus Equine Stable. And Mark Walker and Kraig Newitt. It's a short head and a neck, and a 59.35. The winner 23.11, $6 for second, $8 for third, 861 and 2 after the running of race number 2. Good finish in the end. It looked like they were well and truly spread out at the top of the straight, Gareth, but in the end, a really good battle to the wire.
It wasn't for trial watchers out there. It's a form win for Vistonor, who just holds on. Unlucky Incandescent and Keen Dragon. He just, he sort of has too much to do and always flies late. He'll get it right eventually, I'm sure, Kraig, but a horse that just gives himself way too much to do. There's our winner. A disappointment was Star General, and we just heard that he did rear up as the gates opened, and in running, Kraig, he was a couple of lengths behind the second last horse, so that put pay to his chances. We're going to have a look at that start again of Star General. He was drawn widest of all. And there we go. Oh, you see, he gets caught up in the gates, and you can't come back from that, can you?
No, there was a shocking start from Star General, so I actually didn't call him in the race. He was just a mile back. He made up a little ground in the home stretch, but yeah, that's a poor way to do your money if you're aboard him first up. 861 and 2. And nice win by Vistonor. It wasn't a big margin. It looked like all the way up the straight he'd win, Gareth, but right on the wire I wasn't quite sure because the others were finishing a lot quicker than him.
They were indeed, but well done to Nunez. He got this one home. Michael Clements, a wonderful training performance by him, and I'm sure the stable, the owners are very happy. Trackers, well, you can see Vistonor does shift out a little bit. Our second horse, funny enough, is on the outside. You'll see this horse now goes past Russell the Crow, and we've got the late flying Keen Dragon, who just gave himself way too much to do. And the second and third horse are closing very fast here, but the winner just managing to hold on where it counts most on the finishing line and gets it right. Well done to the late male selection as well. 8, 6, 1, 2 and 7. That's unofficial. Let's go and watch this replay and pay careful attention to Stallgate 10. It was a bad start from Star General.
Gates are back and they're off. A little bit awkward there. Getting a bad check was Forever Best. Steed Expedite was a bit awkward out of the gates as well, and Keen Dragon's going to settle back, but Vistanor flies away. Vistanor went to the lead, 800 metres to go. Russell the Crow up on the outside of Incandescent. Just behind them is Archaeology, followed by Perfect Curiosity. Then came Steed Expedite, Keen Dragon, Super Enough getting a long way back into his inside is Forever Best. Down to the bend, and Vistanor shows the way. 500 metres to go. Vistanor's out by a half length over Russell the Crow. A length and a half to Incandescent being slapped along. About 5 lengths then to Archaeology. Keen Dragon to the outside, but a lot of ground to make up. And trying to finish with him is Perfect Curiosity. Vistanor is the leader. They go to the final 250. He kicks away by a length. Incandescent trying to knuckle down and get to him, followed by Russell the Crow. Then Keen Dragon, but it's Vistanor in front. Coming at him now is Incandescent. Keen Dragon down the outside. Vistanor just in front. Tight one, Vistanor or Incandescent, and a neck away to Keen Dragon. They were followed by probably Russell the Crow just ahead of Steed Expedite. Then came next in, as they've hit the line, Forever Best. They were followed by Star General. It was well back. They were followed by Archaeology, Super Enough and Perfect Curiosity.
Okay, so Vista Noir holding on by a short head, and we're going to have a look at that all clear. $23.11. Well done to Nunes and Clements there. Incandescent, late flying Incandescent, very unlucky, $6. And Keen Dragon, as mentioned, left himself with it all to do, paying $8. Russell the Crow rounds off that quartet, and your forecast pays 17. Your place forecast dividend, 6 by 8 pays 7, 1 by 8 pays 8, 1 by 6 pays 4. Your TSA pays 82, and your trio pays 12. That quartet pays 435. And that quadro pays 20. Your margins are short head by a neck by 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. That's about it. Your time 59.35 seconds. That's the running of race 2. Let's have a look at those official placings. Well, Vista Noir, Incandescent, Keen Dragon, Russell the